Hey everybody, my name's Nusz. Just wanted to touch base with people who have chronic pain, back pain, some that radiate down the legs, and thankfully I haven't experienced that part. But just a little bit of backup history before I go into the Spinal Cord Stimulator and the trial that was installed yesterday. I've been fighting back pain, lower back pain, really since the late 80s. And just a little note, it might be, part of my family, because I know my father had a back surgery, probably in the, late 40s or 50s. I'm the baby of 7. I know one of my other brothers has already had a back fusion surgery. In 2000, I had my first lumbar surgery. They fused L34 and L45 and L5S1. Unbeknownst to me until my first MRI, which was late 80s, maybe early 90s, that I had partial spinal bifida since birth, which I never knew. I played baseball and basketball. I played basketball through my freshman year in high school, where I played on the freshman basketball team and the junior varsity basketball team. It was a lot of work. And I love basketball probably more than anything else. But at the time, I wanted to play baseball. Our high school was a small high school in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. But we were basically known as the New York Yankees of Kentucky high school baseball, even as a small school. At that time, it was all for one and one for all, not like today where you have Class A, B, Class 1A, 2A, 3A based on the size of the school. So we were playing against, big teams from Louisville and Lexington and etc. In the 70s, we won 2 state championships and I think 3 runners-up, and made 2 or 3 other Final Fours. Just to give you a little bit of background, so as an adult, we moved from Kentucky to Miami, Florida in 1984. My daughter was 13 months and my son was 1 month old. But I kept playing men's competitive softball. Played in a Sunday night softball league. I played basketball in the neighborhood on Wednesday nights, and I golfed with work buddies on Friday, and was coaching girls softball and boys baseball all at the same time. So I was very active. I had a rear end. Somebody rear-ended me in 86 or 87. Wasn't a huge one. It was a good jolt. But this is the first time I'd gone to a chiropractor, and I think that was part of my problem. Not to say anything against chiropractic care, but with my situation, I think the more that the adjustments I received, I think it was wearing out the discs. My first lumbar surgery was in 2000. When I woke up, I thought they'd killed me. I was already in my hospital room when I woke up, and what I thought I knew pain to be was quickly realized that wasn't it. The pain was a lot worse. A nurse came in and gave me an injection of morphine, I believe. About an hour later, I hit the button and said, I'm in pain, I need another injection. And the nurse told me, well, you don't get one for another hour. Those that know me know that I am a true Aries, and I react and then worry about what I say or do afterwards. And I raised holy hell, screaming and shouting at the nurses from my bed, until they brought the phone in to the doctor, and the doctor said, we're going to put you on a pain pump. You got to hang in there for about 15 more minutes. They got that hooked up, and then they moved me to another room because I guess I'd alienated all the nurses. But I was there for almost a week until they came in and said, you know, insurance ain't going to pay for it anymore. You're going to have to get off the morphine pump and get up and start moving, or they're going to send you to a old folks nursing home. And at the age of, I think, 39 at the time, that wasn't happening. So I just said, you know, okay, well, you can take the pump off, but make sure that the nurses know that if I'm in pain, that I can get an injection or some type of relief. I did get out of the bed at that point. I had this plastic turtle shell that I put around my body, which was almost as painful as the operation itself, but it kept me straight and didn't solve the problem, probably made the problem worse. I had my second lumbar fusion in 2002, almost to the day, 2 years after the first one, where they had gone in and put in pedicle screws and rods. The part that is on the first surgery, they got into the L4-5 area with 2 cages. They went to the L5-S1 area and they couldn't get 2 cages in because of the nerves that were shattered about as part of the spinal bifida. So he put in one elongated at an angle cage, which basically made the bone vertebra above it tilt. I was still in pain 10 years later, on narcotics the whole time. And at that time I went to see another doctor, and he basically had to go in, awesome doctor, Dr. Mark Shaya, if you're in Miami and ever need a recommendation. He had to actually go in on the third surgery and chip out bones that were growing into my spinal canal because it fused vertically, but because of the tilt, it was growing into my spinal canal. So he did that, and that was 6 weeks after I had my first cervical fusion. So he fused the C5-6. 6 weeks later, he did the third lumbar fusion. I've lived in pain since then as well. Basically at the base of my back, probably even maybe a little bit lower than the S1 area. Thankfully, I was able to handle a lot better. The neck never gave me any problems up until, you know, a year ago. I went in and I had a couple of falls, but I kept doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. But that's the hard-headedness of an Aries. So I had the C5-6-4-5, and within the first 3 weeks of that surgery, I again did something stupid, and the 2 screws popped out of the C5, totally destroying the C5 vertebra. So they had to go back in and redo the anterior part of the fusion, and going from C3 to C7, which is your last cervical neck disc, and so at that point they had to flip me over and put 10 screws and 2 more rods in the back of my neck, basically, I guess, to hold the head on my shoulders. So I had been with a pain doctor about 10 years ago who believed strongly in spinal cord stimulators. But I've been with a different pain doctor for the last, 5 or 6 years, and the technology had grown so substantial that I started investigating again, and my pain doctor from 10 years ago, who I had already talked about Spinal Cord Stimulator, had finally come on to my Medicare plan, as I've been on disability since 2013. And we chose the Boston Scientific Wavewriter Alpha. The install was done yesterday. I came home and took some more Percocet and basically laid in bed because I was really sore from the procedure. I took one more Percocet last night, maybe about 7 o'clock or so. When I went to bed, I did not take any. I am a medical marijuana patient as well, and have had a medical marijuana card since 2013 to help me with pain and really help me put me to sleep, because the narcotics, I think, have caused so many other problems, including severe obstructive sleep apnea. So I've been on an apnea machine probably for about 5 years. They redid another test, and I went to an APAP about 6 weeks ago or so. So I sleep with enough oxygen, but the pain just would wake me up every 2 or 3 hours, and so just got to a point where my head was ringing, I couldn't sleep, I was just miserable. So I made the decision to go with the Spinal Cord Stimulator, and as of today, which would be the day after the install, I'm still a little sore, but really at the site of the injection only, and I have not been in pain in the areas where I usually have pain since the install. So I'll update you tomorrow or the next day, but let you know how it's going. But at this point, I'm really thinking seriously about doing a permanent install, as this specific spinal cord stimulator has an 86% chance of really reducing pain, hopefully to nothing, which would be awesome, because I think I could get off the narcotics, I think I could get off other medications and start sleeping again. And with sleep comes health, and I can get back up and do the things that I used to, or at least some of them, and going to the gym and exercising and doing the things that I've always loved to do. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight. I guess the coming days and weeks as I go through this, they're going to take the trial stimulator out on Monday, but I'm going to give it a real go over the next couple of days as the soreness wanes out. I'm going to get out and cut the grass and do some other things that I usually do that cause me severe pain, that I have to take a lot of pain meds after I do some of these type of things. So I'll update you and let you know how it's going. Anyway, from Miami, Florida, I hope all is well in your world, and I hope this information gives you a little bit of insight into a way of hopefully ridding people that live in serious pain some other options. Godspeed.